Hello, everyone. I'm Richard Sher, and here we go. Because it's been a week from hell, snow, ice, record low temperatures here in Maryland and on the ice-occupied streets of Minneapolis. Here are this week's Square Off panelists.
I'm Nicolee Ambrose.
I'm Chris Kennedy.
I'm Adam Wood.
I'm Darlene Kennedy.
And I'm Richard Sher, and we welcome you to Square Off. And we hope you're staying warm where you are. It has been hell. We hope you and your family are weathering this ice, snow, treacherous weather. Sidewalks are terrible, record low temperatures, and there's no immediate break in the deep freeze. So it's going to go on and on. Adam, what do you think about this?
I personally don't mind the snow. I kind of enjoy cold weather from time to time, but this is a bit much. But I have to say, I was commenting earlier. I'm here in Baltimore County, and we drove through Baltimore City the other day, and with all the taxes I send to Baltimore County and to Annapolis, you'd think they'd be able to clear more than one lane on a given street. But what do I know?
I think Nicolee agrees with you.
I'm really confused how we can't figure out, okay, maybe the first time the plow truck goes down the road, they do one lane, but then you keep widening it, especially when you know the temperatures are going to be very, very low, because that means it's not going to melt. So I'm just very confused about this year's approach to removing
We'll
snow.
just chalk it up to the basic government functions that Maryland can't complete, like teaching children to read or keeping us safe.
Go, Chris.
I think safety is something we should all focus on and talk to each other about and look after one another, especially older folks that live alone. I think that people that might get a little macho and get the testosterone going to think I can go out and shovel the snow when they shouldn't be, should go on next door and find some healthy young guys to come move their snow for them. And then with all this ice that's not going anywhere anytime soon, because I don't see any temperatures hitting the 30s anytime for the next 2 weeks, I would like to recommend, and as a lawyer, obviously we have demonstrative aids in court. These are uh, gripper attachments for the bottom of your shoes. I strongly recommend these things. They're like ice, they're like golf spikes to really keep you from sliding on the ice. And if you can get a pair of these things or something similar, I strongly recommend it because
Is
two people on our street have fallen and broken their arm, and another one their hip. And hips can be
Oh boy.
very devastating for older folks.
Is that why you have holes in your kitchen floor?
No, I don't wear them inside, obviously, but I recommend watching out for the ice because that's very dangerous stuff.
Darlene, what's up?
Well, as someone who has two artificial hips already, I'm trying not to have to get a third one if that's possible. But yeah, it is. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Chris touched on something that I'm mindful of as well. Is who's helping people? I mean, there was a time I grew up in the North. I grew up in New York State, New York City. And when it snowed, everyone just got out there and helped one another. You cleaned each other's cars off. You shoveled. If Mrs. Smith couldn't get out, you helped her get out. I think that common courtesy and fellowship and helping one another seems to be out the door. And I think that's a great. I'm not saying the city is not responsible for doing its job because God knows they are doing a horrible job cleaning these roads. But that said, people are not helping one another, and that makes a big difference.
Let me say one thing. Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott has begun a pilot program. This is pretty good. It's called the Baltimore Snow Corps, allowing residents to sign up to either give or to receive assistance with clearing snow and ice from sidewalks. All you have to do is call 311 in the city to volunteer. I saw you speaking, Adam. What do you want to say?
Yeah, before we move on from the snow subject, I just wanted to mention I think we should all be thankful that this snowstorm happened before the rolling blackouts started, due to the Democrats shutting down every power plant that they see. The next snowstorm, we might not be so lucky, and we're talking about the elderly and disabled people that need help. Think about how much worse the snowstorm would be if they had no heat.
Well, while city agencies have reportedly resolved more than three-quarters, they say, of the 7,000 calls to 311, many city streets, sidewalks, and so many cars remain blanketed in sheets of snow and ice. They've had more calls last week to 311 than they did all of last year. Nicolee, what?
So, to be fair, they might only have had 7,000 calls because you can't get through to Baltimore City 311. I've certainly tried to call it when, for various and sundry problems this weekend, I can't get through. So, I'm guessing those numbers would be a lot higher if anything was adequately staffed. Apparently, they just like to take all of our taxpayer money, but not actually provide services. And it's not just Baltimore City, though. It is a lot of the highways. It
Yep.
is problems across the board. I would take a well-run Hogan administration any day over this mismanagement.
Anybody else? Go, Chris.
Yeah, I don't want to try to play the role of your good friend Marty Bass, Richard, because I know you guys are buds, but it looks like this snowstorm for this weekend might not really be happening or be bad for us. It looks like there's only like a 20 or 30% chance of us getting about an inch Saturday night into Sunday morning, but I'll defer to your friend Marty on that, Richard.
Very good. All right. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it, Chris. I really do. Now we're going to stop for just a moment. Hear from the voice of Square Off, Howard Santa Claus Mallison.
Santa
Go.
Claus. Thank you, Richard. If you're experiencing any kind of foot pain that requires medical attention, I recommend Dr. Kelly Gagan, a well-respected board-certified podiatrist and heel specialist. No one is immune from foot problems. And if your concern is the appearance of your feet, Dr. Gagan has a long record of success using her laser treatments to correct your issue. Plus, they're safe, painless, and go right to the root of the problem. And you can believe me because I'm a cured patient, and so is Richard Sher.
Yes, sir.
So don't suffer from the agony of defeat. Start winning with a call to Dr. Gagan at 410-753-4422 to set up an appointment. Once again, that's 410-753-4422. And Pappas Restaurant and sports bars are synonymous with the best crab cake you'll ever taste. There's a lot more to the Pappas menu, a whole host of specialty dishes you won't find anywhere else. So for fine dining, special occasions, or just watching sports, Pappas should be your number one choice. That's why Oprah put the Pappas crab cake on her favorite things list. And Pappas ships their crab cakes all over the country with 4 locations: Parkville, Cockeysville, Glen Burnie, and Bel Air. I guarantee you'll become a Pappas regular. And if you or a family member has experienced personal injury, medical malpractice, or nursing home neglect, it's time to call the law firm of Barry Glazer. He has the legal team and resources to get to the big insurance companies and get you every penny he can. He's got an in-house medical doctor and nurse, and his attorneys work on the toughest and most complex medical malpractice cases. Barry Glazer is your best advocate for the injured, disabled, and medically abused. So give Barry Glazer a call at 410-547-8568. Let him know you heard about him on Square Off. Now back to you, Rich.
Nicolee, I have to ask you, I watched you. See, I get to see all the panelists at the same time. So I see what they're doing. Why did you laugh? What were you laughing at, Nicolee?
It's so cute how you and Howard are both cured patients. I love that. And I just think your next sponsor needs to be whatever shoe little ice attachment that Chris was showing earlier. I mean, you've just got sponsors all over the place. And then thirdly, I mean, I understand Mr. Wood is quite a Pappas regular. So, your sponsorship dollars go a long way here.
Thank you, Nicolee.
I'm a regular at Pappas. I'd probably eat 3 meals a day there, or 3 meals a week there.
Very good. Well, we might as well sign off. No. Well, it is confirmed through many videos of the incident that Alex Preddy, an ICU nurse, was shot and killed by 2 ICE agents, not just one. Both now on leave. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem alleged that Preddy approached Border Patrol agents with a gun and violently resisted after officers tried to disarm him. There are calls from both Democrats and Republicans for Trump to fire Noam. President Trump, after a 2-hour Oval Office meeting with her, says she is doing very, very good. She's doing a good job, and she will remain on the job. Chris Kennedy, why don't you kick this off?
Well, I have to say, these things, to use another demonstrative aid, these things, cell phones, are creating and validating stories that we otherwise would never see. And this device has become a weapon against lies and purposeful disinformation in modern society. And thank God for them. I just have to say this. I know there's a lot of buildup about Democrats not cooperating with the feds and getting into the jails. I know about that whole issue, and I hope they can work through all of that to get the truly bad people out that are a threat to public safety, because they shouldn't be here. But I was so saddened to see how these officers, not just the two who shot this ICU nurse, but the others around him, scattered after he was down. And then, if you watch closely in some other videos, to go over and to use a knife to cut off his shirt, not to check his pulse, not to provide CPR, not to plug bullet holes in case he's bleeding, but to count the bullet holes like he was a deer carcass, like they had just been hunting, like it's a video game. It was wholly disgusting. And that is, to me, the most poignant part of all of this, and what has shocked people around the whole world and caused Donald Trump to initially pull back and then to tell Tom Homan to pull back. And as of this morning now, Trump is now pulling back on the Tom Homan pullback. So I really don't know what's going to happen going forward.
Well, let's pull back to Nicolee. I'm sure she has something to say.
So if it were up to the Democrats, every single member of the Trump administration would be removed, as well as Trump, because that's what Democrats do. They call everyone a Nazi and a fascist, and they say every Republican does a terrible job. Here's what we do know. The reason we have ICE in Minneapolis, the reason Wes Moore wants to bring ICE to Maryland, is because we have over 500,000 documented violent criminal illegal aliens that came here under the Biden administration. And these were Biden administration DHS numbers, by the way. When you are a failed city like Minneapolis and you release 800 violent criminal illegal aliens onto the streets, you completely destabilize your city. And in the case of, I have no idea what some of these protesters are trying to accomplish, you are literally advocating for violent criminal illegal aliens over your fellow U.S. citizens, who I would think all of us want to be kept safe. So my question is, we know the cartel industry was a $14 billion a year industry. We know the border is closed. We know it is shut down for human and drug trafficking right now. Those cartels are upset. Where's their money going? I'm just really wondering if the people who are advocating for these violent criminal illegal aliens, these people who want them on the streets, are they getting cartel money?
Right.
I have no other explanation for why people would be advocating for violent criminal illegal aliens.
Darlene.
Well, regardless of who's in office at this juncture, it's irrelevant because it's outlaw. The fact that you have armed military coming into a city, and do I say that the protesters, are always well behaved? No, but that's what a protest can be sometimes. The last time I checked, this was the United States of America. I don't think I've seen, or at least historically witnessed, things like this since maybe back in Ohio, back during Vietnam. I mean, I don't know what's happening in this country right now. It's so divisive. And I'm just tired of the finger pointing. Well, the Democrats did this, the Republicans did that. Look, own up to what you did wrong and fix it. That's the bottom line.
But we're not arbitrarily pointing the finger towards anything. What the Democrats are doing, and this is clearly a concerted effort, is they're purposely trying to provoke ICE and law enforcement to create incidents to drive public opinion against ICE. To be clear, to build on Nicolee's point, that This is an overcorrection, okay? Some of these ICE agents, and what this incident was obviously very unfortunate. We have the luxury of hindsight and the luxury of, as Chris said, looking at video from multiple angles. We don't know what was going through anybody's head at the moment, so we're all Monday morning quarterbacking on this. But this is an overcorrection from the Biden administration letting in millions of criminal illegals. And so we just simply didn't have the capacity to handle the deportation of that many people. So we had to recruit ICE agents. These people are obviously green. These people obviously don't have the appropriate training. This should not be happening. To be clear, this should not be happening. The Biden administration should not have created one of the biggest humanitarian crises that we've ever seen on this planet at the southern border. So all these liberals want to act like they care about humanitarianism. They care about all this. Where were they when people that were coming across the border were being raped regularly by cartel members? Where were they when I knew multiple members of Congress that would tour the southern border, and the ground was littered with empty Plan B wrappers and empty condom wrappers, because it was a given that if you came over the border as a woman, you would be raped. Where was the humanitarian outcry then?
Go ahead, Chris.
You know, Richard, you began by asking about Kristi Noem. And let me just say the Fox poll that says 59% of Americans say that ICE is too aggressive is a very telling poll. I think it's also telling that the ICE training is now 47 days to become an ICE agent, which is, they selected that number because Trump is the 47th president, which tells you about the validity of the training itself. But I also checked, and it turns out that the time it takes to train an ICE agent is exactly half the amount of time that it takes to train a dog catcher in most major American cities. And it is scary how a lot of these people have no training in urban settings, and that what training they do have is really focused on border issues like Bovino, and that's one of the reasons he's gone. But with respect to Kristi Noem, she's already essentially been replaced, in my opinion, because Trump created an end run around her by having Homan report directly to him. So I think she's been sidelined somewhat. And the other reason I don't think that she's going to be fired is because she's doing the bidding of Stephen Miller. He's the problem. When have we heard a rational statement ever come out of the mouth of Stephen Miller? He is the problem here. And I don't think anything is going to start settling down, and any immigration is going to get meaningfully addressed until he gets removed from this picture, because I truly believe that he is an unstable person and he needs to go.
So I have a question about names that aren't being mentioned. I'd love to hear some Democrats mention 12-year-old Jocelyn Ungary, Leanna Newman, she was 20, Rachel Morin, she was 37, Hadrian Harris, Matthew Denise, Maverick Marsden, who was 8 years old, AJ Wise, who was 10, Ivory Smith, who was 7, or Laken Riley. People who were violently murdered by violent, criminal, illegal aliens. Why does no Democrat care about these people?
No.
Why are people like Chris Van Hollen flying to El Salvador to have margaritas with human traffickers? I do not understand why on earth the Democratic Party has gotten in bed with the cartels and violent, criminal, illegal aliens. And by the way, Chris, I think you need to look at some more polling, because Americans don't just dramatically and tremendously support removing these violent, criminal, illegal aliens, but because they have such a bad taste in their mouth from what Biden let happen to this country, in which the Trump administration is trying to correct. 52% of Americans are even saying they want all illegal aliens removed.
Nicolee, your silence on the death of this ICU nurse and your silence on this Fox poll about 59% of Americans saying ICE is aggressive, your silence is deafening.
Well, I don't think she is silent. I don't think she is silent on that at all.
No, she hasn't addressed it all. None of you, either of you, has said a word about this man being shot 10 times or the woman being shot in the face.
Hold on, Chris.
Excuse me, you did.
Actually, I did.
Yes, you did, Adam. but
Go ahead.
it is
Let Adam
nobody's
speak.
talking about the excess of violence that's being performed by these undertrained ICE agents.
Well, allow me to then.
Yes, please, Adam.
Allow me to again, because I did say that it's unfortunate that they're not getting this enough training. My mom was a police officer. I know it's really important how police officers are trained. But the problem is that what liberals seem to not understand, and what Nicolee was alluding to, is there is a sense of urgency to get these people out of our country because they are murdering our people. And we may only have a couple years to do it because unfortunately, we may get a Democrat in office next year and they're going to once again not care and they're going to once again flood our border. To be clear, this is an issue that has been festering in our country for decades. I sat in a room under the Obama administration when we had immigration reform ready to go. And we're talking about both sides of it, both enforcement and the actual immigration side. I sat in a room with Fred Upton, Paul Ryan, John Boehner, number of members of Congress. We were doing a whip count on comprehensive immigration reform. We had the votes. Barack Obama knew we had the votes. John Boehner told him, do not poison the punch bowl. And then what did Barack Obama did? He did. He issued the DACA executive order, knowing that it would set all the Republicans off and derail immigration reform. This is a festering problem that Democrats have used as a political pawn for decades. And Donald Trump is actually doing something about it the way that no other administration has done since Reagan.
Well, weren't you disappointed when Lankford cut the deal with Chris Murphy and then Trump pulled the rug from out under Lankford? Didn't that disappoint you, Adam?
A little bit, but I don't know all the details behind it.
Why did it disappoint you?
Hey,
Because
Chris.
I would like to see immigration reform, but I also know, having worked on this issue in a very in-depth manner, I know that I can't really comment on that definitively because I wasn't in those conversations. There are a lot of ins and outs. There are a lot of stakeholders on this issue, and it is really important that this issue is done correctly.
Right.
When you have half of the conversation not arguing in good faith, and I am alluding to the Democrats, then it's really hard to come up with solutions.
All right, we're going to take a pause. Take a pause. Excellent discussion and debate. Here's Howard again, and then we'll continue.
Thank you, Richard. With so many cars on the road and all this ice and snow around, which is pretty dangerous. I mean, you all know how dangerous it is. Auto accidents are going to just happen and happen frequently. So if you've experienced an accident, the insurance companies can't tell you where to take your car. That's why more and more drivers are trusting their auto repairs and maintenance to leading edge auto body and mechanical repair. They work on all makes and models, offer free pickup and delivery anywhere in the Baltimore area. So give them a call at 410-443-6433 or visit them at 5807 Falls Road in Mount Washington. They make your car look and run like new again. And it's all a warm breakfast, a great lunch, a great dinner starts at the Double T Diners. It's the best. They are always the best. And all the menu choices they have are served the entire day. The Double T Diner has locations all over town, Route 40 West, Perry Hall, White Marsh, Bel Air, Laurel, Annapolis, Pasadena, and the EC Diner in Ellicott City. You never seen a menu that's got so many selections. It's why the Double T Diner wins so many reader polls year after year. Plus, Monday nights are lobster night at By the Docks, which is part of the Double T family. So let them know you heard about them on Square Off. I will see you at the Double T Diner. Back to you, Richard.
Oh man, Howard, you are just taking our look at. You should see. Take a quick shot of my good friend Nicolee. She is overwhelmed with our sponsors. 5 sponsors, ladies and gentlemen. Square Off is now in its 42nd year in Baltimore. We've been on every channel and in everybody's car. Let me move on to this for a minute. In a rare political statement, First Lady Melania Trump is calling for Americans to unify. She says the president had, quote, a great call with the governor of Minnesota and the mayor of Minneapolis, and they are working together to make it peaceful and without riots. She says, if you're going to protest, protest in peace. Who wants to continue our discussion? Go, Dar.
If I just wanted to follow up from the previous segment. I'm sorry about that, Rich.
Don't worry about that. You're welcome to do that.
Okay. Nicola, I can't believe, you spew out all these statistics and names and people who've been murdered, which is unfortunate. You don't talk about the little brown and black babies that are being murdered in Baltimore City
Yes, I
all the
did.
time.
I
Do you really?
absolutely did, and I advocate for that all the time. In fact,
Well,
I even
it's just
for
fine.
years have run a
Literally-
at this
charity
party.
She literally ran a
advocating
charity.
for
Sorry.
child to violence. A wrong
Sorry.
person to play that game with. Do not play that
Really?
game with me.
Really?
All right, listen to
Yes,
this.
I'm for
Hey,
real.
Excuse me.
Listen, secondly,
Hold it, Dar. We
sorry.
do not allow personal attacks on other panelists. You can discuss the content, but you don't.
I did not use any disparaging towards Nicolee, sorry. What I said is that she talked about the murders being done by supposedly, allegedly by these foreign illegals. But what about the day-to-day things that are happening in Baltimore City? I never said anything disparaging about her. If she thought I did, I apologize, but I would never do that. I'm not that kind of person.
Okay. Appreciate that, Darlene.
But I did want to say one final thing.
Please go ahead.
Following up with Chris, just really quick, that, Chris made a great point about Stephen Miller. People always look at the puppet and they never look at the puppet master. And he has been in control since the first administration of Trump and now this administration.
I think Trump's in charge, actually.
No, I don't think so. Not really.
I mean, I know that Democrats are desperate to find a boogeyman, but I thought Trump was the boogeyman. Let's pick a lane.
I think Stephen Miller has absolute immunity. I know a lot of these ICE guys are running around talking about their qualified immunity, which is not going to stop Keith Ellison from prosecuting them once this nonsense ends. But to go back to Richard's point here, Trump is panicking. That was one of our topics for today. When you have to recruit Melania to try to get the peace going, Melania, that shows how desperate he is to try to do damage control. And the other things that we've seen since then are what? Sending Tulsi Gabbard down to Georgia to go pick up the ballots from an election of six years ago, and then having Pam Bondi arrest Don Lemon late last night. And these are all deflection issues to avoid talking about the horrific scene of these young 37-year-old ICU nurse and a mother of three, and the fact that the Epstein files still haven't been produced. And it is horrific. But Stephen Miller has absolute immunity because he's running Trump's golden issue, which is immigration. That is his favorite issue. That's the issue he polls the best with. But right now, that issue is being mismanaged, and it scares the hell out of Trump. So all Miller's going to do is ramp up the volume even more, which is why Trump, late last night, after he came back from his Melania film debut, to pull back on Tom Homan's
that was not Trump's favorite issue. That was voters' favorite issue, by the way. But can I just actually point out real quick?
I'm making brief because Nicolee wants to get in.
Sure, I'll let her. But I just want to make a quick point. This is a great example of how many times have Democrats said, literally after he got shot, Trump should lower the temperature. Trump should lower the temperature. And now what is he doing? He's trying to lower the temperature, and you're finding fault in it. There's nothing that he could cure cancer, and you guys would find fault in it. But I'm sorry, Nicolee.
Adam, his quotes went the opposite direction
Trump
last
has said there
night. He went
should
the
be
other
an
way last
independent-
night.
Chris.
Trump is giving everyone what they want. There should be independent investigations. He's sending Tom Homan to Minneapolis to ground zero himself. Tom Homan, who has over 30 years of experiences, not just at ICE, but as a border agent, etc. One of the most seasoned, experienced law enforcement officers in our country's history. You're getting everything you want. But here's what I so appreciate the First Lady doing her announcement, doing her public service announcement for. And you cannot stop Melania Trump. If she wants to do something, she's going to do it. I don't think she needs to be told what to do by her husband. Thank you very much. She asked for peaceful protests. everyone should ask for peaceful protest. Every Democrat, every independent, every Republican should ask for peaceful protest. Because why? Guess what? Law enforcement is trained everywhere in the United States of America, probably in many other countries in the world. If their lives are threatened, they will take out the threat. So if someone uses their car as a battering ram, if someone brings a weapon to a fight after they've kicked out taillights and done other crazy stuff, they are going to encounter more severe force, which is why everyone, in every single Democrat specifically right now, as well as everyone else, should ask for peaceful protests.
All right, we're going to wrap this because we're way over our time limit. President Trump has nominated former Federal Reserve Board of Governors member Kevin Warsh to succeed current chair Jerome Powell, whose term expires in May. Powell was picked by Trump to lead the Federal Reserve back in 2017. So he picked him and he's leaving under him. Hey, do me a favor. We want to start hearing from our viewers. All you have to do, we want to know about your feelings about our topics, our panelists, and what's going on here at Square Off. All you have to do is go to squareoff.net, and click where it says, we want to hear from you, or whatever it says. And we're going to read some of those on the air next week, okay? So do that for me. Darlene?
Yes,
Feel
sir.
better? It's good to see you, Chris Kennedy.
Likewise.
Good action today. Adam, thank you. And of course, my girl Nicolee is always there in a different room this time. And we will see you all next time when we square off. Please walk, drive, be very careful. As Chris said, you break an arm, you break a hip, it's pretty serious. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you.